varieties turn over pretty quickly. And most of the work that's done on varieties is done in dryland conditions. Here at the ICC, we're running fully irrigated variety trials to make sure that you can make informed decisions. We're really grateful to the sponsorship of New Seed, BASF, Pioneer and Pack Seeds to be able to run this trial. Damien, can you tell me a little bit about what the sowing conditions were for this trial?
Okay, as per usual, we dry sow, so we aim to be in the ground and watered up by Anzac Day. So this trial actually was sown dry on the 23rd of April and watered up the next day. It took about 1.5 megalitres to do it. A further complication to that was we did get a bit of rain afterwards, but we were quite successful in getting a good establishment over the trial.
And what inputs have you put out here?
This year we've actually been on top of a brown manured vetch crop, so we actually had a considerable amount of N. So on the trial site it's anywhere between 160 and 250 units of N before we even started. So good start. So we've top dressed the trial twice, about 6 leaf and at green bud, and for a total of 80 kilos of N top dressed. So we're on target for a 5-tonne crop.
So weed management is a key driver of variety selection. Not just yield. So what are the yields that you're seeing for each of the herbicide resistance groups out here?
Well, with limited varieties, the conventionals still are our top yielders. So Diamond's leading the pack there, and a couple of seasons ago we've got 5 tonnes with that. So we're in the high 4s for the conventionals. Then we drop down to about 4.5, 4.6 for the Roundup Readies. Conventionals are averaging 4.5 tonnes to the hectare over the last 5 to 6 years. We drop down to the Roundup Readies with just over 4 tonnes. The Clearfields are next at 3.6, and the TTs are bringing up the rear with 3.4.
Are there any varieties that stand out in each of these groups? You mentioned Diamond already, so are there any that stand out in the TTs or the Roundup Readies?
I suppose, and that's the difficulty you alluded to initially, that we sort of start to build a bit of a picture with some of the varieties and then they're withdrawn and they're new replacement. So in some ways we do have a little bit of faith that the seed companies are bringing in their better varieties. So yeah, Quartz is showing some promise as a replacement for Diamond in the conventionals. But yeah, it is difficult to get a good picture in some of the other herbicide groups simply because we haven't got a lot of data on them because they're sort of relatively new. As an overall comment about the varieties, the TTs, as I said before, were bringing up the rear of the pack in terms of yields, but some of the more recent hybrid TTs are actually closing up that yield gap.
That's great. So other than weed control, what should growers be considering when they're selecting a canola variety?
So there's usually a fair bit of discussion about seed size, and so some of the hybrid seed is actually quite large. But we've looked at seed size over the years in terms of establishment, and we sort of get a random pattern. There's no trend to larger seed size giving us a better establishment. So yeah, it's something that maybe more of an issue in a tougher start, but because we, as I said, we dry sow, water up, conditions are usually pretty good and so that small seed size doesn't seem to affect establishment.
Thanks, Damien. I was pleased to hear that the hybrids are beginning to close that yield gap. As I said, this is an ICC members trial, so if you're really keen to find out what the yield results are on these, log on to our website and you can sign up for membership there. The great thing is we try and get the variety results out for these at harvest time, so you can access them while you're sitting on the header themselves, and you have some really timely information to be able to make some decisions about variety selection into the next year. Again, I'd like to thank New Seed, BASF, Pioneer and Pack Seeds for their support in this trial.